Hi everyone, so today I'm going to show you how I made this card. Now I'm calling it a Triple Concertina Tower Card with Apertures. So this is what the card looks like from the top, this is what it looks like from the front, and it folds down into a 5x7. So you can fit this in an envelope for a 5x7 card, which is what I like about it. And it also means if you wanted to, you could extend and have two more here on the end, because it would still fold down to a 5x7 envelope. So there's lots of scope for this. This one I've actually done acetate windows, as you can see from the reflection. But you could go ahead and you could maybe do like one big window, you know, like three like big windows that actually cross over and have things dangling down. There's lots of things you could do with it. Yeah, there literally is lots of things you could do with this. So anyway, so that's what we're going to do, one like this, and we're going to yeah, see what we can do with it basically. So let's get started. Okay, so for this card you're going to need some base card. Now this base card needs to not be any thicker than 200 GSM. This is, I think this is about 200 GSM, maybe 180, but it's definitely not any thicker than 200. So you're going to need one piece that is 7 inches by 10.5 inches and two pieces that are 5 by 11. Okay, so we're going to bring the scoreboard in now, and we're going to score the largest piece, which is the 7 by 10.5. Going to score it along the 10.5 inch edge, and we're going to score at 2.5, at 5, at 7.5, and at 10. Okay, so that's 2.5, 5, 7.5, and 10. Okay, so that's all we need to do for that one. So we can put that one to one side. Then we're going to bring in the two pieces that are 5 by 11, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch, at 3 inches, at 5.5 inches, at 8 inches, and at 10.5 inches. Okay, so we're going to do that again on the other piece. So we're scoring at 1/2 inch, at 3 inches, 5.5 inches, at 8 inches, and at 10.5. Okay, so that's all the scoring that you need to do. So we can put this away now. So what we're going to do is just going to go ahead and we're just going to fold and burnish all of our score lines. Okay, so once you've scored and burnished all your all your score lines, you should end up with 3 pieces that are like this. Now, what we want to do is we need to be obviously sticking the pattern pieces on before we cut the apertures out. So we need to then work out which is going to be our front pieces. So we don't want to stick them together just yet. You can if you want, but it's easier if you don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the pieces and just kind of show you roughly where the front needs to be. So what we need to do is I'm just going to take 2 of the tabs and fold them the opposite way. So everything's a mounting fold apart from this one tab here on the left for this one, which is a valley. This one on the left, everything's mounting folds apart from this tab on the right, which is a valley. These are all mounting folds. So what is going to happen is this is literally going to go together like a normal square, okay, like a normal cube, normal tower card. That will go like that. If you want to, you can stick the tab on the outside. We will be putting panels on the back. So this will be going together like a normal tower card. And as a result of that, basically this front bit is where you're going to cut your aperture out. Now, if you want to, you can put that tab at the front and hide it inside, but just be mindful that if you do that, if you do it this way around, two things. First of all, you have a join at the front of your card, and secondly, when you cut your aperture, you may well end up cutting through 2 layers of card plus your pattern card, so it might be a bit too much. So I always put my little join at the back, and I'm actually going to put my join on the back of the back, like on here, because I'm going to put a panel over that anyway, and that's the back of the card. So then when you look through the aperture in the middle, you don't see any joins at the back there. So that being so, I'm just going to take a pencil now, and I'm going to put an F here and an F here, so I know that that's the front. So that's going to be the front of my card. That's where I'm going to cut my aperture out, and that's where I need to put my pattern pieces on. So that's that one done. So now we move on to these two pieces. So what's going to happen is these two tabs are going to secure at the back here. So if we look at the back of this card, you see how you can see them on the back there. So because we're putting panels on there anyway, it doesn't really matter that you can see it. But that means that we need to make sure of where our front is. So if we have a look at this one, this will fold round, so we're going to be putting tape on there, and that will fold round like that, which will mean that our card ends up like that. So if you can see, we've got a tab and then two panels. So this will be a front and this will be a front. Okay, and everything else there is going to be a back. So if we do the same with this one, but in reverse, like the opposite way, mirror image round. So we've got our tab here, that's a valley fold. This will be your front and this will be your front. Okay, so now we can go ahead and stick our pattern paper on. So for this, you're going to need, obviously, pattern paper for the front of your card and pattern paper for the inside of your card. So on this one, I had the stripe on the front and the macaroon paper from Oh So Sweet, the first edition pad, on the inside. And then I cut some of the little Oh So Sweet macaroons out, put some glossy accents on and use them on the front. Okay, so you need pattern A for the front and pattern B for the inside. So I've chosen from this Pretty as a Posy? No, I'm not sure what it's called. So it's a Posy. Anyway, I'll put a caption up on the screen of what it's called. I can't remember what the paper pad's called, but it's a first edition pad anyway. So I've chosen this for the front, that for the inside. So you need two pieces that are 2 1/4 inches by 6 3/4 inches, and you need two pieces that are 2 1/4 inches wide by 4 3/4 high. If you've got a right way up pattern, just remember that they're portrait pieces, they're not widthways. So they're going to go on the front. These are going to go on the inside, but we'll do that after we've cut our apertures. So these are exactly the same measurements as what we've just done. So these are, again, two pieces that are 2 1/4 by 6 3/4 and four pieces that are 2 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so that's, you've got basically exactly the same sizes in duplicate, one with pattern A, one with pattern B. So we're going to go ahead now and stick these onto the fronts of our cards where we've written F. We need to make sure when you're sticking down that you thoroughly glue the whole of the back, okay, because you're going to be cutting an aperture out. So if you only glue around the outside, then what's going to happen is you'll end up with a flappy bit. So you need to make sure that you actually thoroughly glue the whole thing. So as you can see, I've put glue over that whole thing, and then I'm going to stick that down. Now if you wanted to, you could do matte layers as well as pattern layers. The only problem then is you're going to have an awful lot of card to cut through. So that's why I haven't done that. I've done just a pattern layer, and that's that. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these down. Okay, so I've gone ahead and stuck these down. So now we're going to go ahead and cut our apertures. So obviously, as I said before, I actually used a punch for these, and I folded my card in half like that, and then I just punched through the circle, or you could die cut, either would be fine. And I actually punched the circles out. So I did obviously 2 on this side, 2 on this side, and then 1, 2, 3, so 6 in total down there. But today I'm going to do the other way of doing it, the other version. So I'm going to actually do one big aperture. So I'm going to do 3 apertures in total rather than 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 apertures I've got here, haven't I? And I'm not going to use acetate this time around. So yeah, different ways of doing it basically. So let's just have a look and see what to do here. So I've chosen a large oval, which I'm going to put in the front there. And then I've chosen a smaller oval, which will cut out of there and cut out of there. So I'm just going to go ahead now and lay this on. I'm just going to have to open this up a little bit. And I'm going to lay this into place and then run it through my die cutting machine. Use some low tack tape to hold my dies in place because I do not want them moving. I'm going to tape my die, even though it's low tack tape, I'm just going to tape it to the inside of my oval, because then if it sticks and tears, it doesn't really matter because I'm not using the oval anyway. Whereas if I stick it so that it's on the outside of the card and it tears this, I'm going to be in trouble. So I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine now and I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut out all of my pieces and I've done both sides off camera. So I've used that one and I've used this one, and then the other one's also cut as well. So now we can go ahead and assemble our pieces. It also, before you assemble actually, it depends on what you're going to put in the aperture. If you want to have something dangling down, you may well want to add it now on the reverse. What we're going to do is we're going to stick it together. So if you want, on this middle one, if you want it to go like that, then obviously you need to put the tape on the inside of the tab. If you want to stick it how we normally stick it like that, then you need to put your tape on the other side of the tab. So it's up to you. I'm going to put it on the inside of the tab. As I said, I just think it looks a little bit neater from the front. And the front is really what you're going to see. So I'm going to add some red tape. Now because it's going to fold, it's actually going to fold that way, like that. It's going to be like that in the envelope. So for that reason, I'm going to stick it like that, because then at least I know it's going to fit in the envelope without any problems. Because if I fold it the other way, how I would normally fold it, so that it's flat like that, I might then have problems when I get to folding it flat in the envelope. So I'm going to fold it like that for now. So that's our first central tower done. So I'm going to put that to one side and we're going to concentrate on the 2 outside pieces. So these pieces, so that's the front, there's the little tab. This one, I need to put tape on this side of the tab. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on this one as well. Okay, so now we've done that, we're now going to assemble our cubes. Now this one needs to go together with the tab on the inside, and this little bit here will be sticking out. So we need to put tape on this side of it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on both of them. Okay, so I've put red tape on both of the tabs. Now with this one, you can actually decorate the inside before you stick it together. And to be honest, it is always better to do it beforehand. So I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to stick my pattern pieces in here. So I have one there and one there. It's on the other side to where your aperture is. And then on this side again, one there and one there. So I'm going to go ahead and stick those down. Okay, so that's the inside stuck down. So now what we want to do again is stick it down how it's going to be in the envelope. So it's going to be in the envelope like that. Okay, So again, this looks weird because you've got this tab sticking out and it's not stuck onto anything, but that's absolutely fine. So we're going to peel this backing tape off here, and then we're just going to fold that over and stick that down. And when you pop it up, you end up with that. So you end up with a little aperture, your box, and then a little tab, and obviously this one, the tabs on the left hand box, the tabs on the, sorry, the right hand box, the tabs on the left. Okay, and then we're going to do the same with this one. So we're just going to fold that back section over, take the tape off, make sure you're taking it off the right tab. Just as a little guide for you, when you look at the front, where the aperture is, there's a tab. You're not sticking that tab yet, you're sticking the one that's at the back. I'm going to fold that over, stick that down like that, and then you end up with two little boxes with tabs attached. So now we're going to bring in our final box, and what happens is this tab is going to stick to the back of there, and this tab is going to stick to the back of there. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. The best way I've found out of doing this is if we just turn it all round. The middle one, fold it flat, so fold it the opposite way to the way you stuck it. Take your backing off this tape here. And then, actually, if we do it this way around, I'm going to do it upside down, okay? So, I'm going to take this and I'm going to marry this edge up with that crease line and this bottom bit up with this bit here. If you want to, you can actually put it into a misty, or I could put it on my scoreboard. I shall show you what I mean. So, I'm going to bring this in. Now, remember, I'm doing this upside down because that's my bottom edge. So, for example, I can marry that up against there. Bring this, just get that in the right place at the bottom there, make sure that's flat. Oh, hello. Make sure that's flat, and then stick it down like that. Okay, and you don't want it to overlap too much. You need to be able to fold flat like this, but you also want it so that it's, you know, it's about right there. So again, I'm going to do the same with this one, and I know it's upside down, but as I said, the reason why is because of where this edge is. I've got edge on the other side of the scoreboard, but anyway, I've started now, so it's fine. So we're going to do again here. Just bring that up like that. Make sure it's nice and straight. There we go, and stick that down. So that then gives you your boxes. So now all we need to do is go ahead and stick the pattern paper in the back of that central one. So I've got my paper pieces here. So I'm going to go ahead now and we're going to stick this down inside there. Okay, so you end up with that. Now, if you were cutting out your apertures like I did on this one, your separate apertures, so I've got like one little one here, one little one there, three down that side, three down that side, one there and one there. Oh, she says trying to unfold it. And you wanted to put acetate in, then what you need to do is you need to cut out 4 pieces of acetate that are the same size as your mats. So 2 1/4 by 4 3/4, 4 of those, and 2 that are 2 1/4 by 6 3/4. Okay, so that's if you want to cut out, if you want acetate. If you don't want acetate, that's fine. It's one less thing to worry about. And with the acetate, you just stick it at the back. So you just stick it behind on the inside. Now I've actually cut my acetate. I don't know if you can see that. My acetate is actually smaller. I think these panels were the full width, but because my squares were only tiny, I just did acetate that fitted my circles, not my squares, my circles. So it's up to you what you want to do. So on this one, I'm not going to bother acetate. So I'm just going to go ahead. I've fussy cut out already some flowers just off that backing paper. Just fussy cut some out. So I'm going to go ahead now and just add a few little flowers on the bottoms of the apertures and whatever. And then I will add a greeting, and I'll come back to you at the end when I've done all of that. Okay, so as you can see, I've gone ahead and added my little fussy cuts on, just onto the corners, and I'm now going to go ahead and add a greeting on the front, And I think that's going to be it. I mean, you could have things dangling down if you wanted to on the apertures, but I don't think I'm going to. I think once I get a greeting on the front, I think that will be fine. So I've cut out my birthday and I've cut out my happy. So now what we're going to do, I'm just going to lay this flat, and I'm going to have this coming off there like that and not crossing that halfway line, and this one coming off there. Now this does ever so slightly cross the halfway line, but I think it's enough that it will still fit in the envelope. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick that on anyway. Okay, so as you can see, it does go over the halfway line slightly. If we fold it up, you can see it does go over very slightly, but I think I should hopefully still be able to fit that in my envelope, because it now measures 5 1/8. So that's okay. I'm pretty sure that will still fit. So just be mindful of that. Same with when you're sticking any embellishments on. If you want as a guide, just fold it down flat and then stick your embellishment on, so at least you know it's not going to go over that line. But yeah, so there we go. That's the finished card. So I think I prefer the larger central aperture than the smaller ones. I think the smaller ones could be useful if you, I mean, you could even not put the acetate in and have little things dangling down from each aperture. That might be quite nice. Or little penguins, little, you know, or creatures or whatever, foxes, I don't know, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Little animals poking out. That would be quite cool as well. So there's lots of scope for things to do. But as I say, I like the way it folds down flat into a 5x7 envelope. So hopefully you'll have a go. Please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and then you won't miss a video. Also, I've noticed that about 50% of you are not subscribed. So if you can subscribe, that would be a great help to me. It helps me carry on making videos. But also it means that you won't then miss a video if you subscribe and hit the notification bell, and turn all notifications to being on, and then that way you won't miss anything. But I thank you all for watching, and thank you for supporting me over these last couple of years, and for some of you longer than that. So yeah, so have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.